This is AI.R, Artists in Residence Broadcasting, coming to you once a week from New York City.
Good evening. My name is Emily Frankel, and I'm doing this post because my husband, John Cullum, is in the final two performances before his show, Scottsboro Boys, opens at the Vineyard. I'd like to talk about heroes. I've got heroes on my mind. Heroes, because this is not a criminal that kids should admire. This is a 19-year-old named Magnus Carlsen. He's from Norway. He speaks very good English, British English, but very normal, regular English. He has 1,258 fans on Facebook. So he's not very famous, but he is the #1 chess player in the world. And when he was 13, he was a grand master, the youngest grand master of chess that there ever has been. What is a grand master? What makes a grand master? Well, you have to win a lot of tournaments. When he was 12, he was already winning a lot of tournaments. And there is a man, a Hungarian American, who was born in America, who was a physicist, whose last name is Elo, E-L-O, and Elo created a system of measuring probabilities with a logistic curve. I can't explain any more than that. Don't ask me more than that. I don't have that kind of mind. Woo! A grand master? Imagine being called a grand master when you were 12 years old. When I was 12, I was taking classes at the Metropolitan Opera, and I lived in Queens all by myself in a boarding house, and it was a scary trip for me to take. And when I get out of the subway, up the steps, I see the cement in front of this wonderful old Metropolitan Opera building, and I look down at the cement and step over the cracks. Don't step on a crack, you'll break your mother's back. And I thought, as I was jumping over the cracks, someday these feet are going to be the most famous feet in the world. Well, I was wrong. But Magnus Carlsen, at age 12, was not thinking about being famous. He was planning chess games. This kid at that young age was already playing 7, 8 chess games simultaneously. I'm not kidding, simultaneously. His photographs show him as a very good-looking kid. I can't find out his weight or his height, but one very good report on him called him tall, handsome Magnus Carlsen. And they described him, they were watching a game, they described him during a game. They said he wears a white shirt and an ascot, that's sort of like my turtleneck. An ascot, and he starts out very neatly and very relaxed, but if you talk to him as the game progresses, and a game can last 7 hours, it often does, his neatly tucked shirt will become untucked and his hair will get messy. He has wonderful hair, long hair. And he giggles. Imagine that. With his looks and with his brilliant mind and his regular guy traits, boy, the media could promote him. A lot of other kids and boys and girls who get interested in chess and get interested in him as a hero. He's not like Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer was the previous hero, #1 chess player before him. But Bobby Fischer was always off-putting and uncommunicating and kind of sulky and shrunken into, and wouldn't talk to people. And as he grew older, he stopped playing chess. He moved away from the United States. He talked against the United States. And though he was Jewish, he became anti-Semitic, and he died alone. Sad story. But, well, I have to say this about chess. One of the reasons I got John Cullum interested in looking at me was I was doing a show. I was the choreographer for a show, and he was the star of the show. And we would play chess. Sometimes the stagehands would get together after the show, and they were playing chess. So I sat down, and they taught me how to play chess. And I was very good. I was naturally very good, I guess because I'm good at steps. I could play 5 moves ahead, and everybody, including John, noticed that and kind of admired that. Well, Magnus Carlsen can play 20 moves ahead. That's a lot more than 5 moves. Chess is very interesting and deeply absorbing. Even though I played on a beginner's level, it's like when you're dancing, when you are totally concentrated. It's a transcendental experience. Excuse my big word, but it is. You're not you. You are one with what you are doing. Anyway, I think that it would be a very interesting thing if the media promoted him. You could make Magnus Carlsen into a game show. You could make him into a magician that was on a show and kids could ask questions and this guy could contemplate and think 20 moves ahead. You know, in chess games, there's a beginning game, an opening game, a middle game, and an end game. And Magnus Carlsen, when he plays, is already planning the end game. That would be a great kid for kids to emulate. Hey, media guys, this is not a fantasy. You're constantly promoting criminals, rapists, terrorists. Why not promote this handsome, young, hardly grown-up, but interesting young man as a hero for kids to emulate? Well, I've said what I have to say. This is Emily Frankel for AI.R Broadcasting. I'll be back with John Cullum next week. Thank you for listening. Good night.
This is AI.R. See you next week.